Hey guys, welcome back to episode 5 of Inbox Insights. Will, how have you been this week?
Yeah, it's just a start, but it's good. I'm glad that we're out of February. Thank goodness, shortest month of the year, but yeah,
Most
it's looking
painful
good.
month of the year, huh?
Mm.
Cool. Well, today we've got, I guess a slightly different episode to normal. We're going to focus solely on pop-ups today. So how do we grow the list and capture more emails? And the first point we want to talk about is aggression level. And Will, I want to kind of hand this one right across to you. What are your thoughts here?
All right, so this is one that's been on my mind for quite a while because we have been doing a lot of tests, and just by virtue of some clients' sort of website setup and how Klaviyo integrates with like Shopify or custom websites, we've had to slightly tweak the way that we approach pop-ups, and it's been very, very interesting to see the like how that actually affects everything. So the basic principle is this: like the more you show your pop-up to just anyone, so the more or the less you restrict your pop-up. So for example, the most extreme case of this would be that the very second that someone lands on your website, your pop-up pops up. The very opposite end of that might look like something that you only use it as a teaser. So the only way that anyone's ever going to be able to see a pop-up is if they click the little teaser in like the bottom left-hand corner, or whatever it is. Now the interesting thing is that if you think of this as a sliding scale, the different sort of tests or the way that we've seen this sort of play out is that the more restricted you get, the higher your pop-up rate is. But not only that, it's almost like the quality of the leads that you're picking up are a little bit better too. So if you find a really nice balance between, super aggressive and super relaxed, or maybe not relaxed, but intentional. So someone has to voluntarily, interact with the pop-up instead of being forced to interact with the pop-up. You get this nice little balance of, yes, your pop-ups perform better, but then at the same time, the quality of your leads are also just improving. Because if you think about it, and this is where I'm just kind of like nerding out completely. This is like my jam. If you think about the purchasing intent of someone, like actually clicking and doing just a little bit of effort to get something, they're, I think, automatically just going to be higher quality leads that you're capturing. So it's almost like, and I think this kind of plays in with the new Klaviyo thing, like you're paying for profiles now. So why not only collect profiles that are a little bit closer to actually making a purchase? Yeah, there was a lot of pretty big info dump there. I don't know if there's anything that you want to specifically get into, Jordan.
Let's dig into some of it. So essentially what you're saying is, making people showcase intent to get your pop-up means you have a higher quality person on the list, right? Is that principle one?
I think so, yeah. That is essentially behind
And then
the
obviously,
principle behind it.
show that teaser or that kind of pop-up info to less people. And I want to come on to how we restrict and choose who we show it to in a second. But showing it to less people, higher intent people click through, your conversion rate is higher, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to kind of talk about, or should we go on to kind of how we go about restricting the people that we show that teaser or that pop-up to?
I think that pretty much covers the basic principle of it. But yeah, again, so maybe as a segue into talking about how we restrict that or just manage who's actually seeing the pop-up, it's a good point to like sort of just say that, like, if it's working for you, if you're getting like a 5% sign up rate from a pop-up that pops up immediately, that's super aggressive, fine. But adjust as needed.
I think something I wanted to mention though is interrupting the purchase journey. And I think, we get this a lot from kind of customers and certainly people who have built their site on funnels. Sometimes showing a pop-up too aggressively interrupts the purchase journey, and you're collecting data from people that would have kind of checked out and purchased anyway, right? And I think this tactic that you're talking about stops that from happening.
Definitely. So it is a little bit of like an adjustment and maybe just like common sense. Like, do I want someone to see a pop-up right now? probably not. If you're on the checkout page, I mean, this is sort of like standard stuff for the setup, but you don't want people to see a pop-up on the checkout page because the only thing that you want them to do is like click buy. But if someone's looking at a product, maybe that's the best time to actually have the pop-up. So instead of your home page, instead have the pop-up appear on a product page because that's showing purchase intent. They're closer to making a purchase because they're actually viewing a product. So that's how you'd sort of that's how you slide the scale from like aggressive to sort of relaxed.
Okay, let's double tap on this point then. So in terms of like, how are you choosing your triggers to show this, or where are you kind of restricting the pop-up from appearing? Do you want to just talk through a couple of kind of points here, and I guess talk through time delays, pages to show on, not to show on, teasers, all this kind of stuff?
Yeah. So again, like sort of sliding spectrum, there's a lot of levers that you can pull here, but time delay is probably one thing. I'd say it's maybe something that you can test, and it might have not the like longer would be more relaxed, and earlier would obviously be more aggressive. But the biggest one that I think that you can actually do is just specifically pick where you show the pop-up in the purchasing journey of a customer. So, like I said, product pages are really good, but it might be at the collection page level as well. So you could say like, these are the pages that I want to be displayed, or I don't want it. So if you go into Klaviyo, you can just click the setting like, do not display on any pages that contain, slash whatever. And then, yeah, I think that's probably a way. If you wanted to go really, really relaxed, or just like focusing on intent, having the pop-up only be triggered by a teaser is a really, really good option. So we've got one client that had to run it this way. Like, there was just something wrong with their website, and when it popped up, the pop-up just went crazy. And we set it up this way, and what we found out was that it performed really well. Like, the leads that were coming in were converting really well too. And I think we had a sign-up rate of something like 20%, which is just unheard of. And it wasn't that much less than just the regular pop-up. But now what you're doing is you're collecting people with very, very high intent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we just talk to kind of time delays and exit intent triggers and your thoughts around that?
I think so. The way that I see the time delay is, it's a little bit of like, okay, you're kind of guessing here, but it's also the way that your website would be built. So if you've got a really, really long homepage, for example, that maybe looks a little bit more like a landing page, there's like a lot of information or education going on, then I'd increase the time delay a little bit, just to give people a little bit of breathing room to actually like orientate themselves on the homepage and sort of read a little bit. But again, that's something that you just test.
Just on that point, there's two other tools that you can use to kind of track your customer journey, and that's really what you want to kind of base this time delay decision on. So one is use Google Analytics to see kind of how long people are spending on site before bouncing, and then two, if you want to get more granular, install a heat map software. Look at kind of where people are scrolling, where they're getting to in terms of percentage scroll of the page, and also time on the page. And then you want to trigger your pop-up to show just a little bit before that kind of average period, so that people that aren't purchasing and then clicking off, they're kind of giving you their info.
Yeah. I don't know if you want me to give our SOP away, but I think our standard setup is 8 seconds. It seems to be for most websites, like e-com brands, so seems to be the best one.
And just to reiterate, that is like a PDP, like a product page, rather than like a text-based advertorial or some kind of other landing page, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And then exit intent, what are your thoughts around that?
Like, exit intent, I think is just, so I look at it the same way as when we start sending cart abandon emails with an offer in it. So we're trying to capture someone, or it's like a wait, don't leave sort of thing. Like, there's something extra that you can see here, but it's behaviorally driven. It's probably not the most high purchase intent people, but if you can capture them. Like, yeah, it works. It works really well. Yeah. I don't know if it's worth going over as well, but I just do want to mention it too. Like pop-ups and the setup and the tech side and testing is all very good and well, but the number one thing that you can do for your pop-up is test different offers. So if you know that you have an offer that is really, really exciting for people to sign up, then like that's where you should focus first. So all this other tech stuff like delays and where you display the pop-up is secondary. It's important, but it's testing on the basis that you have a sign-up offer that works really, really well.
Sure.
So that's the optimization there.
While we're on the topic, we might as well just go into this then. So, like you said, the highest leverage activity that you can do is test different offers on your pop-up. And for clarification, that's what is the activity that's going to drive your sign-up conversion rate higher the most. So, yeah, do you want to just talk through how you think about kind of offers and what the kind of options are, Will?
Yeah. The best option and the option that people should probably always start first with is like a discount. So it just works. We've used it time and time again. Especially for those people who are coming in kind of hot. They're kind of ready to make a purchase. They just need to spend a little bit of time on the website, maybe read a couple of reviews, but those are the people that you're going to capture there. There are a lot of options that we've seen work as well, and I'll kind of put them in order of what worked best. So the next one was a giveaway, and the kind of like secret with this is that it has to be so big that you kind of just can't not sign up for it. So it's nice because you can spread out instead of affecting your sort of margins, you spread the cost of getting people to sign up over a much longer period and on probably you won't be paying as much as you'd be losing in margins, depending on what you're putting up as the offer. But yeah, sometimes resources also work really, really well, but this is the most tricky one. Like if you can find a lead magnet and like a little thing that someone can download, sign up and download for, that really, really aligns with what your customers are interested in, you've struck absolute gold, because then you don't have to touch your margins, at least to get people to sign up. And it's by far the most difficult, but if you do it and you get it right, like, well done to you. So really, really well done.
For an example here, it could be, if you're selling supplements, it could be some kind of PDF or video course lead magnet, right? That would work well.
It could be. So that's of the formats that you could deliver the lead magnet. That's the way that you can do it. But it's very much the content that it's difficult to figure out. Yeah, like as a copywriter, it's like the holy grail to try and find some bit of information that is so valuable to a reader that they'll give you their email address. Yeah,
for sure. I've got a couple other kind of offers jotted down here that I think would be interesting. And like you said, and I want to come back to this in a second, it's all about A/B testing these offers. Yes, you want the conversion rate to be as high as possible, but you also want the margin impact to be as low as possible, right? So, for example, if you've got a high ticket product, could you do 10% off? Could you switch that to $10 off and get a similar kind of conversion rate and have a massive difference to your margin? That could be quite smart. Also, for kind of brands that do a lot of kind of restocks or are quite trend based, you could just have something as simple as signing up for brand new latest stuff and getting notified for when products are kind of back in stock. And then the other one I've got is cashback. So this is, instead of 10% off, you get 10% cashback. The benefit here is, again, on the margin. So 50% of people will never redeem that cashback. 30% of people will redeem it on that second purchase. So you're incentivizing a higher LTV. And then it's only 20% of people that redeem it on that first time purchase. So it's a massive kind of margin improvement there. I guess my kind of final question on this, Will, before we move on, is what would you say about kind of getting enough data to validate a test?
So two factors here would be just traffic. So how many people have actually come through, and I think you're measuring this in like probably by the milli. So you'd want to have a couple thousand per test. So you're not running, 5 different pop-ups and you've only got 200 signups per, or like 200 views. So you want to get like enough data, and then it's time. So a minimum a month, like run it for enough time that you can get enough data and see how it actually gets affected over like a standard month. During Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or over the Christmas period might be a little bit tricky, and the data might be a little bit less valuable. But yeah, so traffic and time.
Yeah, because you want to. A lot of people say, "Oh, I get that traffic in a day. Why can't I just run it for a day?" Well, you want to have different times of the day. You want to have different days of the week on there and different kind of events, like you said, just so that those kind of trends can smooth out. I did want to talk about our kind of new tool that we're using for quiz funnels. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about having a separate exit intent pop-up. And this is something we've used for a few of our brands now. And I think it's a really interesting way to kind of grow the list more. And essentially what you're doing here is you're having your kind of front end pop-up, which loads after, a certain amount of time, activity on site or something like that. Then you have a completely separate pop-up that shows when people go to exit the site. And the difference here is that in the offer, so you might have, a conversion focused discount on the front end one. And then more of an informational or educational piece on the kind of back end. And the goal here is, people that are leaving the site are probably less close to purchasing. So you want to give them content that's kind of higher up the funnel. Someone that's kind of, lower down the funnel, that discount is probably going to get them over the line. What you also want to do is someone that signs up for the exit pop-up gets a different welcome flow. There's more educational, telling them about the industry, the market, the products, the business. And then they go into a kind of a conversion focused welcome flow, just like, hey, if you're ready to buy, here's the promotion, here's the offer. So yeah, does that kind of make sense, Will, about just another kind of tip that people can use to improve list growth?
I think especially around products that need a little bit of education. So there's there are certain products, and I won't mention the specific client that we have, but it's a difficult purchase, and it's the fact of how the product is made, and there's a lot of myths and just misunderstanding about how the product works. So I can I 100% see that working there. Yeah,
for sure. Okay, should we talk quiz funnels?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a partner in the space, Alia, that we've been working with. What do you think of these guys, Will?
I think they're pretty good. Like the team itself, the people on the team are pretty nice. Interacted with them quite a lot, but the software and how it's being implemented, it's working really, really well. So it is focused a little bit more on the engagement, or trying to, I suppose, a little bit of segmentation as well. So when it pops up, it feels very natural on the website. So it's not like you're getting taken through this very difficult sort of quiz to get like your code or whatever when that does pop up. But it fits really well.
Sure.
And it performs really well too.
Yeah, and just diving into that then. So as Will said, this is kind of a 1 or 2 question quiz, quote unquote. It's a pop-up that shows, and the goal is to get engagement first. So to come in with a micro ask rather than just going straight for, hey, what's your email address? We're asking for information on the customer. So think, if you're selling a hair care product, the question could be, to unlock a mystery discount, what is your goal for your hair this year? Is it less frizz? Is it more definition, more volume? Whatever it may be, we want to kind of offer some options about the product. And then we'll ask, we'll unveil the discount, and we'll ask for an email address and carry on kind of the normal journey. What Alia also allows you to do is show some educational content based on the answer that someone has given to that first question. So if you've chosen, less frizz to that kind of hair care question I posed, you would maybe get a short video or a little bit of text about, how you can use the product to achieve less frizz, or, some tips for kind of what you can do in your day-to-day life, or actually, just something as simple as, this is our preferred product for this. So yeah, you kind of get that, but you also can then use that zero-party data. that you've captured to offer personalized product recommendations and send content to people that's customized based on what they've chosen. And I think just to kind of round off this point, the final thing that Will said there is, yes, the opt-in rates are way higher. So people are almost a bit banner blind to these more kind of simple pop-ups. Sure, they still work great. And there's a lot we do with our kind of design team to make sure that conversion rates as high as possible. But sometimes we can see up to a 2x kind of improvement by switching to, something that poses a question rather than going straight for, kind of the ask there. So does that kind of make sense, Will? And is there anything you would add there?
I wonder if we come back to the first bit of the call, if there's some sort of that little bit of effort that someone has to go through just at the beginning with the pop-up, if there's some sort of crossover there.
It's almost the reverse of what you'd expect, right? Increasing friction sometimes leads to better outcomes.
Yeah. Fascinating results, though.
For sure. We definitely recommend anyone check out the guys over at Alia.
Yeah, great guys as well.
Yeah.
Very, very decent people.
Okay. I think that brings us to the end of the episode then. Will, thank you so much for joining me, and see you next week.
Awesome. Thanks so much for letting me nerd out on pop-ups. Don't get to do that often. So,
Cool.
Thanks so much, Jordan.
Thanks, Will.